Good morning to you, Nohlanhla, this morning.
Good morning, Brighton, and good morning to our guests who have joined us. Welcome to this morning on Asake. It's getting windy. It's now July, so please do keep warm and keep your kids warm as well in this winter.
Today we have a jam-packed show for you guys. We're going to be interviewing the CCC Aspirant Member of Parliament for Luveve Emakhandeni Constituency. That's Discent Bajila. Is going to be joining us shortly to unpack his election manifesto and what he has in store for us when it comes to the elections and what he will deliver for the people of Emakhandeni and also Luveve. For now, let's jump into the news headlines. Let's wait for our guests to join us shortly.
Yes, so yesterday we ran a story headline, Fire Burns Part of Luveve Cemetery. A portion of Luveve Cemetery was burnt by a wildfire which destroyed grave markers and some of the tombstones. The cause of the fire is unknown, but some residents blamed the Bulawayo City Council BCC, which administers the cemetery, for causing the fire to clear out the outgrown grass. So, a site news crew visited the cemetery and confirmed that a portion of the cemetery had been affected by the fire. A group of prisoners were also observed slashing grass in another section of the cemetery. Contacted for a comment, BCC Corporate Communications Manager Nesi Sampofo refuted claims that the council was responsible for starting the fire.
So number two story coming through from our website is High Court reserves a judgment in CCC Provisional Council list case. The Bulawayo High Court has reserved judgment in the matter in which members of the Citizen Coalition for Change, CCC, are challenging their omission from the Provisional Council list. The 10 CCC members, led by Aquelia Kavidza Pamberi, as the first applicant, with 9 others: Tinashe Kambarami, Memory Ndlovu, Promise Dalubusha Mkhwanazi, Caroline Mabago, Garikai Mugova, Kwanele Bango, and Brian Kumbo, Cletus Smart, and Tawanda Ruzibe, respectively, filed an urgent court application accusing ZEC for depriving them of the opportunity to submit their party list nomination papers. Quite interesting story there coming from our website this morning.
Yes, and another story that we have there is headlined, $45 million needed to treat Kami Dam water. The Bulawayo City Council BCC will need at least $45 million to recycle water from Kami Dam, the latest council report has revealed. The dam was built in 1928 and decommissioned in 1988. Due to the perennial water crisis in the city, there were suggestions that the local authority purifies Kami Dam water and use it for domestic consumption. The plan was met with resistance from residents and other stakeholders who indicated that the water is contaminated with chemical waste and human waste.
Right, thanks so much for the news headline this morning. We're just joined by Bajila. There is our guest this morning, the CCC aspiring MP for Luveve and Emakhandeni. Remember, guys, it's time to be social with Asake Online. Our service as follows: live streaming, social media adverts, program sponsorship, mobile road shows, video filming, photography, documentaries, as well as corporate events management. Do call us now on +263 788 084339 or come to our offices at number 45 Moffat Avenue in Hillside, right here. It's time to be social with Asake Online. Bajila, I've sent you the mic to become a speaker. Please do accept the mic this morning. You can jump into our interview there this morning.
Yes, if you're joining us, welcome to This Morning on Asake. Today, we are talking to CCC aspiring MP for Luveve Emakhandeni, Discent Bajila, to unpack his manifesto. I hope you are going to read it. This space, invite everyone, especially those from Luveve Emakhandeni, so that they get to interact with Bajila and get to ask questions and also get to understand his manifesto and vision for Luveve Emakhandeni.
Yeah, Bajila has been on the ground for many years, man, running from MDC, then now CCC. He has been active in Luveve constituency for many years and has become an activist for many years. Remember, at some point, he was speaking about the issue of the neighborhood watch. I saw him coming up with our dialogue, sitting together and saying, guys, let's come up with a neighborhood watch for Luveve people. And so for me, it was quite an innovative issue to say a young person like Bajila coming up with that innovative idea to say, let's come together and safeguard our constituency. Remember that day we were speaking about the issue of safety in our communities, but Bajila stood up with other community leaders to come, let's lead this thing and let's try to make our community safe. So he joins us this morning to unpack his manifesto and hear what he is in store for abantu baseLuveve, labantu baseMakhandeni nxa ezangena idala leParliament engumeli wabo eParliament. Bajila, please do accept the mic this morning. We want to hear from you as you unpack your manifesto and what you have in store for abadala baseLuveve leMakhandeni.
Yeah, quite interesting, Brighton. I was watching him yesterday on a debate that he was on yesterday, and he was very convincing. And I hope that today he's going to be that convincing as well, so that he gets votes from Luveve Emakhandeni. So please, guys, if you are from Luveve Emakhandeni, we are speaking to CCC aspiring MP for Luveve Emakhandeni, Discent Bajila. Get your questions ready. Please do stay tuned in so that you get to hear from him what his manifesto is and what his plans are for Luveve Emakhandeni.
So I'm reading some of the timelining up Bajila on Facebook. He was speaking about many different issues and for the past days around issues of what causes poverty in Zimbabwe. He says one of the main causes of poverty in Zimbabwe is the Zeno Act. He says local authorities can't expand existing dams because of the Zeno Act. Local authorities can't build new dams because of the Zeno Act. Desiltation of the dams can't be done without the cooperation of the Zeno. So it's quite interesting what he was speaking about. He says, if I'm elected as a member of parliament, I will fight for the disbandment of Zeno. The power of local authorities over backwater bodies must be reinstated to the pre-1970 status. Quite interesting what he's saying there on the issue of water. Remember, Bulawayo has been facing the issue of water for many, many years.
Mm-hmm. And also looking at the story that I just read, all the efforts, so much money is needed, and all that, and we need all hands on deck, all solutions on the ground to get better water service provision. Yeah?
I see our speaker just joined us there. Bajila, good morning, sir. Welcome to This Morning Asake. Bajila, can you hear me? Right, seems to be struggling there to get Bajila as a speaker there, but he just joined there as a speaker. I don't know what's happening, the issue of network. Bajila, good morning. Welcome to This Morning Asake. Right. Yeah, seems to be struggling there on the issue of network. Yeah, we'll keep on trying.
Yeah, we'll keep trying. So yeah, quite interesting, Brighton, the issue of Zinoa, and also a lot of things. I was also watching the council meeting yesterday that was held yesterday, and the issue of.
Bajila, good morning.
Yes, thank you so much, Brighton. You had put me on mute, but I'm back now. Thanks a lot.
Bajila, my first question to you, we have seen you growing up in Luveve, Bajila, speaking about your activism in Luveve. Who is Bajila in terms of political activism? Who is Bajila in a nutshell?
Well, I'm a member of the CCC. I have been active in politics since around about 2006-7 when I joined the MDC. I have been active in the MDC since that time. Active the unification of the MDC towards the establishment of and I'm very enthusiastic about issues of open government, about issues of grassroots power, and about issues of the rights of people in the diaspora, regardless of what their nationality is, regardless of where they are in terms of the country that they reside in the diaspora. In short, that is who Discent Bajila is.
Well, thank you so much for that, Bajila. Let's get straight to your manifesto. What is your manifesto for Luveve Emakhandeni? Just even for those who haven't seen it.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I've got a 10-point manifesto that I have developed. I think I'll speak briefly around the core issues of the manifesto without necessarily delving into all of them. Most of my manifesto has been flighted on my socials. That is at DC Bajila on Twitter, as well as Decent Collins Bajila on Facebook. I am reliably informed that the constituency Twitter account at Emakhandeni-Luveve also has the manifesto by now. But basically, the first thing is that when I'm elected member of parliament, I promise the people of Emakhandeni-Luveve that we are going to do constituency feedback meetings and quarterly constituency consultative meetings. I've lived under times when we have deployed people to council, we have deployed people to parliament. They do not come back to us to consult. I have been a victim of that, and I do not think that by any means I can be a perpetrator of the same. I understand that over the past term of parliament 2018 to 2023, there was a challenge of COVID-19 that for about 3 years prevented people from holding public meetings. But I still think that through innovation, there should have been other means through which these consultative meetings and these feedback meetings could have been held. The other issue that I bring forth in part of my manifesto is that of the establishment of a Makwekwe Reservoir Improvement Consortium to bring tap water to our people 24/7. First of all, I do not believe that urban areas should have boreholes. We do not need boreholes in urban areas. Boreholes belong to that. Where we do not have boreholes, we have tap water in rural areas. So there can't be pride around boreholes in this time and era. The issue around the Makwekwe Reservoir Improvement Consortium is such that we need to go to Makwekwe Reservoir where our people in Emakhandeni-Luveve drink their water from, and make sure that at Makwekwe Reservoir we are capable of getting water from underground and putting it into our people's tapes and putting it on pipes such that people in urban areas must never leave their homes going to look for water. Instead of doing boreholes in each and every one of our communities here, we need to have a solar powered system at Makwekwe Reservoir, such that even if the city Makwekwe Reservoir can still pump water into our pipes and into our taps. We need to end the era of boreholes this time around. Also, so I think, okay. Am I?
Yes, audible,
Can you hear me,
but you're
Brighton?
breaking here and there. I don't know, maybe it's your network. Maybe try to move.
Please confirm.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you, but you're breaking here and there. Try to move to a better spot, maybe.
Okay.
It's quite interesting what Bajila is
There
saying.
being no confirmation, I will proceed. We also look forward to, once I'm elected into parliament, we will fight that the Zinara Act as it exists now be amended. We need to make sure that local and provincial governments are the ones that collect imtelo motor lane. Yes, I was asking. I knew something was happening. Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, Bajila. Please go
Hello.
ahead. There seems to be some delay there, some sort in terms of communication. Let me try to listen. Maybe we can hear ourselves. Continue.
Yes, and quite interesting what Bajila was speaking to there. Bajila, do you want to continue? yeah, network connectivity issues there. But yeah, quite interesting what he was talking about there. I hope he's going to reconnect and
Maybe let's try to remove him as a speaker and then he will join again because there should be some delay in terms of hearing him there. We'll speak about the issue of water. Bulawayo has been affected by a wish of water for many years, you know. Every year in, year out, the issue of water. People are queuing for water. But let's speak about that to say he's going to establish what reservoir.
Yes.
Something interesting that we're speaking about there. And also spoke about the 10-point plan that is part of this manifesto, the issue of to say monthly meetings for his constituents, right? But remember, not like over the past years, they've been having MPs who do not give feedback meetings to their constituency. So I'm glad to hear from Bajila says we're going to give monthly feedback meetings. It says monthly constituency feedback meetings and quarterly constituency consultative meetings. You know, consultative meetings. So go back to about Dalabo Ketile, say, guys, what do you want me to speak about in Parliament? It's quite interesting what Bajila is speaking about there. Bajila, I've sent you a mic again to become a speaker. Please do accept the mic and become a speaker there this morning. Guys, if you have any questions to Bajila, please do request the mic. We can give you that mic this morning.
Yes, and the issue of social services as well, Brighton, he looks to, revive that sector, make sure that orphans are taken care of. Quite interesting. I haven't heard that in a while now, and it's quite interesting to hear him also touch on that. And we wait to see how that is going to be worked out and, get to have, orphans and the elderly as well as people with disabilities taken care of.
Yeah, we seem to have lost our speaker there. But if you can hear us, please do come request the mic and we can continue the conversation there this morning. Guys, this morning just joined by CCC Aspirant Member of Parliament for Luveve, Emakhandeni, Discent Bajila there to unpack his manifesto. I see abahlali baseluveve bakhona laphana obusilinjani mama livuka kanjani. Please do request the mic this morning. We want to hear from you. And you can also put your demands across to your Member of Parliament, Aspirant Member of Parliament there this morning to say, Bajila, we want you to go and do A, B, C, and D in Parliament. I love point number 10, part of his manifesto says, we're going to organize Emakhandeni-Luveve in diaspora to adopt and support the public health and education initiatives in the country. It's quite interesting today because don't let you know what we've made people Hamburg diaspora, right? Who want to come back home and invest in some things that they grow up maybe using Luveve, be it is Bejlela, be it is God and so on. It's quite interesting. Point number 10 to say he wants to come up with a diaspora act to say I want to say diaspora come and adopt some of the things that are there and try to maybe look after them.
Yeah, quite interesting as well, Brighton. I've seen in my neighborhood when it's Christmas time, we have the diasporans coming together and wanting to help the elderly, persons with disabilities and orphans, and most of the times grocery and everything. But there's always that question, what else can we do for the community? And Bajila here is bringing an interesting dimension it to say let's work together in building a constituency Luveve Emakhandeni with the diasporans. Quite interesting. And also remember yesterday we were speaking about those in public office going an extra mile to source funds to be in partnerships, to work together with abanye abantu in funding projects our community.
Yeah, quite interesting. The Pachila, I've sent you the mic to become a speaker there this morning. Good morning, Pachila. Can you hear us this morning? Pachila, can you hear us?
Yes, I'm back. Thanks.
Right, let's speak about point number 10 of your manifesto, Pachila, the issue of the Diaspora Act. To say we're going to look at abantu abahambayo diaspora who grew up in Luveve to take up our initiatives like clinics and education. Maybe talk to more about that to us.
Yes, you if you look at everything very well, I'm passionate particularly about Luveve Clinic because I've got only one sister and she was born at Luveve Clinic. But if you look at Luveve Clinic, since it has been there, it's been unable to provide 24 hours maternity services. So what you then need to do is to tap into the diaspora and say, what is it that we can do to improve healthcare services in local clinics? We have got two public clinics in the constituency, Luveve Clinic and Emakhandeni Clinic. They need to be able to be capacity with issues such as maternity services. I'm passionate about those things because I've seen what wrong can happen if a maternity service in a local community is not adequately attended to. You would know, Brighton, that sometime due to lapse in concentration of staff work in a maternity clinic at some point, I lost my own child. So I'm passionate about those things. I'm not talking about them at the level of politicking. It's because I know what wrong can happen. And that is why I need to be in a position where I can mobilize the Emakhandeni-Luveve diaspora to adopt a healthcare center, to adopt an education facility in the constituency. I know, for example, a lot of people who are lawyers now outside the country, whom we were together at Emakhandeni Secondary School, where I did my O levels. I think they can be mobilized. We can do something about Emakhandeni Secondary. I know as you go home, those who move around that place, you can see the school doesn't have a fence. The school is in a dilapidated state. And I think we can mobilize the diaspora to say, okay, let's fence our school to start with. Okay, let's have a nutritious garden in our school as an improvement. Okay, what is it that we can do to make the school kind of a place that looks like there is progress that is happening in it? There is not only Emakhandeni Secondary School, but there are many. We have Inyanda, we have primary schools also around in the constituency. We can bring together the diaspora to fast track development in these places. Am I still audible?
Okay. Yes, you are.
Yes.
Do you still want to continue? I have another question for you here.
No, around the question 10, I'm okay.
Okay, so thank you for answering to that. There's a question here. Prosper is saying good strategies in place right there. Number one, the Constituency Development Fund (CDF) has been under scrutiny and usually not fully utilized and accounted for. How will you ensure accountability, transparency, efficiency, and effectiveness? That's the question. I hope you got it, Bajila.
But you can unmute your mic now and go ahead and respond to the question asked by Nonhlanhla. Right, we seem to be struggling there with the issue of the network, guys, this morning. Yeah. Our guest this morning is Discent Bajila, MP aspiring for Luveve Emakhandeni constituency. So speaking about the 10-point plan that he was speaking about, the issue of the manifesto, but someone was asking they want the issue of the CDF, issue of transparency and accountability of the CDF. You know, over the past years of MPs using the CDF. Guys, if you have any questions, please do request the mic this morning. Want to hear from you and ask your questions to Bajila. Let's try one more time. Bajila, good morning. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. You can now.
Yes, I can hear you. Please do go ahead with the response.
Okay. Let me respond to the question of CDF. There is two levels of accountability around CDF. First of all, accounting to Parliament, and then secondly, accounting to the people. CDF has always been very accountable when it comes to accounting to Parliament. We last had a situation where MPs failed to get the next batch of CDF during the 2008 to 2013 Parliament. The cause for that was that they didn't put their documents right. They didn't do well when it comes to accountability. Now, we have not had that issue. I've been a participant in CDF activities a lot, and I know that if, for example, you are given your CDF money for the year 2020, if you do not account for it very well, you are not going to get a single cent for the year 2022. So if you see that the money has been coming year in, year out, it means accountability at the end of Parliament, at the end of the Auditor General's office is okay. But being accountable to Parliament alone is not enough. There is a point of accountability to the people on the ground. That's why I said CDA got two lines of accountability. So there's been satisfaction in terms of accounting to Parliament, but there hasn't been much satisfaction in terms of accounting to the people on the ground. What you need to do, what I will do if I'm elected member of Parliament for Emakhandeni-Luveve, is to start by having community CDF committees. A CDF committee for Ward 11, Emakhandeni, and then you make every decision around those issues to be taken at that level. Because my activity in CDF activities, or my participation in CDF activities over this, has taught me that CDF money is the most, like, is the, if you do not intend to steal, is the money that is so hard for anyone to steal. But it can be stolen if someone originally purposed to steal it. So the easiest is to make sure that the citizens, the residents, the people on the ground are in charge of everything. They are the ones who look for quotations around what is to be purchased. They are the ones who make the decisions. But also there is need for better education, especially in platforms like these ones, on things that CTF can fund and things that CTF cannot fund. There is stuff that CTF cannot fund. For example, in terms of the CTF constitution, CTF can't fund an income generating project. CTF can only fund the purchase of equipment that is going to be installed and used. That is the CTF constitution, and it stays like that. So if you educate the communities properly and allow them to make these decisions and allow them to bring forth the quotations, others would say no, kumele lithenge from khonapha ku community. Yes, it's okay that are competitive, so that we buy the equipment from the community itself. If there are no competitive quotations from within the community, it's problematic. Again, if the issues that the communities say they want are not covered by the CDF constitution, there is going to be problems. But as it is, I want to emphasize the point that the communities need to be educated, the communities need to be given the power for them to control and to run the CTF committees. I thank you.
Well, thanks so much, Bajila, for answering that. Guys, if you just joined us this morning, we're having an interview with Discent Bajila, the Aspirant Member of Parliament for Luveve, Emakhandeni under CCC, that's Discent Collins Bajila. Bajila, on the issue of MTC, right? Luveve has been under, last Luveve countback before delimitation, it has been under MTC before. And also, maybe the councillors were under MTC. They failed to achieve some of these things, Bajila, the issue of roads, issue of sewer, issue of water in Bulawayo in particular. What will you do differently? As you're also part of MTC, but now you're part of CCC, how will you do these things differently, Bajila, and how will you achieve these things you're speaking about there?
Well, if you check on my manifesto, the both questions you asked are answered in there. The first part is here. We have Zinara collecting umthelo wezimota from the people, vehicle owners. We're not going to end road network problems in the country. Umthelo wezimota must be collected by municipalities, so that municipalities can use that money to develop local roads. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're clear, Bajila.
Okay. So I'm saying umthelo wezimota must be collected by municipalities, so that municipalities can use that money to develop local roads. I am sure you have seen motors coming from South Africa written MP. That MP written means that vehicle owner pays their tax to Mpumalanga province. If you see a car written EC, it means the owner of that car pays the motor vehicle tax to Eastern Cape province. We are more conversant with GP. It simply means the money is paid to Gauteng province. And that money is the one that is used to develop roads. We can't continue to expect that umthelo wethu owamanzi, umthelo wethu esiubhadala khonapha eCity Council owama rates, is going to develop roads and pay municipal workers and pay everything. No, we need to devolve the collection. We need to empower the revenue base for local authorities so that they can develop roads and transport infrastructure. The same goes for Zinwa. If you check from my manifesto, if you check at point number point number 3, where I talk about water. Currently, the challenges that Bulawayo is facing is that the city is expanding fast and rapidly. But in terms of the Zinwa Act, Bulawayo as a city can't build a new dam. Bulawayo as a city doesn't own Ncema. Bulawayo as a city doesn't own Inyakuni, doesn't own Mchabezi anymore. While these dams were built using taxpayers' money, Bulawayo. In 1997, government introduced Zinwa, and the Zinwa is now responsible for all these dams. And we do not need Zinwa anymore. What we need is power must be given back to local authorities. These local authorities must have power to build new dams. Already you are being told that there is a site for a new dam around Matopos thereabout. That dam is going to be a Zinwa dam. It's not going to be a city council dam. So you are not going to resolve the challenges of Bulawayo water. You are not going to resolve the challenges of Bulawayo roads. As long as you have Zinwa in place, as long as you have Zinara collecting everything. Zinara must be responsible for national roads. And the revenue for Zinara doing national roads is available at toll gates. So Zinara must continue to collect its money at toll gates. But umtelo wezimota must be paid at city council, so that city council can get money to develop these roads. And this is not a new thing. It's happening in South Africa, it's happening in other countries, and it used to happen here in Zimbabwe. We used to get to pay umtelo wezimota ema local authorities, and we are simply saying, let's not reinvent the wheel. These roads were built using umtelo wezimota owawubhadalwa ema local authorities. The entire water system yakobulawayo was built Onyakuni, Onyema, when the city council itself was owning these dams. So do away with Zinwa and then reduce the powers of Zinara. You are going to develop this country and this city, this beautiful city of Bulawayo, quite fast. So those are the solutions that are in place. It's not about MDC, it's not about CCC, it's not even about Zanu PF. It's about what is good for the people of Zimbabwe.
Well, thanks so much, Bajila, for responding to that. Yeah, quite interesting what Bajila say. They're saying they around the issue of Zinara Act and so on, and empowering the local people there. Let's go to our speakers. They want to ask questions to Bajila. I see our first speaker is Native, son of Bula. Good morning, sir. Please do go ahead with a question to Bajila this morning. Native, son of Bula, please do go ahead with the question to Bajila this morning. Okay, you seem not to be getting Native Sunday. Nubes, good morning, sir. Please do go ahead with the question to Bajila.
Thanks Nubes, thanks Nubes. Kunjani mhlonishwa? Angazi ukuthi ngiyazwakala kahle.
Clear, sir. Please do go ahead with the question.
All right. Mina like asombuzo esachi but yazi ukuthi ngiphelelwe into ebikhulunywa ngumhlonishwa lapha ngendawo yokuthi asila amboni ukuthi kukhona uzasilungela as long kungakakhitshwa le izinwa akhuluma ngayo kumbe izinara, because it seems like lo amakhansela esawafaka kathesi akula improvement awuzakwanisa ukufika eyenze ekhansilini engaba ngewe CCC, MDC loba iphi party, but it seems like akula nje improvement ezaba khona, babe khona nje ukuyazidlela imali lokuthola ama stands.
Well, thank you, Ncube, for that contribution this morning. Let's go back to Native Son. Native Son of Bulawayo, are you there? Well, yeah, let's move on to Ndaba. Good morning, Ndaba Zezwevik. What's your question to Bajila?
Thank you, Nonhlanhla. Sakubona Ncube mfowethu and everyone on space. I beg your pardon, because I might sound probably off topic, but it's common whenever people gather that some of us siyadunya siyele. Bajila, there is a rumor that is circulating. The ZEC issue is quite disturbing to us as citizens. The voters' roll hasn't been released, and we've heard that something has been stolen at ZEC. As an aspiring member of parliament, are you privy to the ongoings with the ZEC? If so, I would like to hear from you if it's true that the, what do you call this thing that saves information, which I understand has been stolen from ZEC. What is the way forward should that be true? Thank you. That's my question.
Well, thank you so much, Ndaba. Bajila, can go ahead and respond to that question. Bajila, are you there? Please do go ahead and respond to the question. We seem to be struggling there with network with our speaker there this morning. It's quite interesting. Our questions posed there. Let's go to another speaker. There's a try to wait for Bajila. I see Baba Kolite. Baba Kolite.
Siyavuka baba Ncube, livuka njani lina? Lo mama wesikhosini uMabhinqa linjani? Anyway, how are you, Mr. Bajila, Njabulo, and everyone else in the space, including Ndaba, as well as Zenzele and everyone else? Well, thank you for being coming in and presenting. Like what you presented really is it's actually commendable. I think you're coming up with policies which I think, if they are all implemented, I think they will benefit the citizen. However, I had the same question with as Undaba, which my question was, does he have the voters' roll already? If not, when is he gonna have it, or are there any promises from ZEC that he's gonna have the voters' roll anytime soon? Considering that there are a lot of things that happened with the delimitation report, which we don't have, and with most of the registered voters kind of failing to find their names in the local polling stations, but some of them finding their names 8 or 10 kilometers away from the polling stations. If not, is there any other way that they have come up with to try and resolve that issue and get the voters' roll as soon as possible? Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Not Golite, for that contribution this morning. Bajila, I hope you got the question. Please do go ahead and respond to Golite. Bajila, are you there? Well, looks like he's still having connectivity issues there.
Yeah, but interesting conversation that we're having there this morning with Bajila there, the CCC Aspirant Member of Parliament for Luveve, Emakhandeni. Let's go to another speaker there this morning as we try to get hold of Bajila. I'm trying his phone number right now. Njabulo, good morning, sir. Welcome to This Morning on Asake.
Good morning, Brighton. Good morning, Nonhlanhla, and our speakers and our aspiring MP, Bajila, and to all our listeners. To me, I had a very quick question for him because he will be representing me. I'm part of Emakhandeni constituency. So my question would be, last time we had an MP, I don't even know who he is or who was, stuff like that. Now that he wants to go in and represent us in that constituency, is he going to be actively visible in the parliament in terms of engaging and also challenging the decisions that are being made on our behalf? Because we have found that a lot of our MPs, we send them there, they promise us fireworks when they are here before we vote for them. Then once they are in, that will be the last we hear of them. I don't even know if my MP is even written who answered, or is written only the current MP is only written who answered ma kuphela kubala members that were present to parliament. But there is nothing notable that I think I've read who answered that one who MP has ever raised the Emakhandeni. So my question would be to him: is he going to really represent us and speak on our behalf, so that some of these things that he's raising here, is he going to go to the parliament and start advocating and pushing and raising these issues in parliament? Thank you, Brighton and Northland.
Well, thank you so much, Anjabulo, for that contribution this morning. Yeah, we wait for Bajila to reconnect. He's back now.
Yeah, Bajila, good morning. Can you hear us now? All right, we seem to be struggling there to get our speaker there this morning, but keep on trying, guys. If you have any questions to Discent Bajila, please do share your questions via the comment section there. I see some of the questions are coming in. Let's try one more time. Bajila, can you hear us this morning? All right, we can't hear him. Let's go to Councillor Mpumelelo Moyo. Councillor Mpumelelo, good morning.
Hello, yes, good morning.
Well, maybe let's. Hello, we can hear you now.
Yes, Brighton, can you hear me?
Councillor Mpumelelo, yes.
Yes, we can hear you, Bajila, now.
Okay.
Bajila?
Thanks. Yeah, Brighton, you do not make a call. If you make a direct call, you cut. Yes, Brighton, if you make a direct call, you cut the network and then we cut afresh again. So you disrupted me by calling.
Okay.
Same, there are two
that,
questions here. The question of the voters' roll.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're clear.
Yes.
Just go ahead and
So
respond.
Brighton, you uzileyo lapha ngendaba ye-voters roll ukuthi i-voters roll sesila. Yes, kulo bhuti obuzileyo lapho ukuthi i-voters roll sesilayo yini lokuthi kuzwakala kuthiwa kule nto zinye zithiwa zitshontshiwe. Let me start by talking lokho okuthiwa kule zitshontshiweyo. In Zimbabwe, we do not have anything called a presidential voters roll. So the circulating story alleges that a presidential voters roll was stolen. In Zimbabwe, we do not have anything of that nature because a polling station, a voters roll is polling station based. So whosoever is going to vote for a president is entitled to vote for a councillor, is entitled to vote for a parliament. So we have just one document called the voters roll, and it's available at polling station level. You do not have a constituency polling station, a constituency voters roll. You do not have a provincial voters roll or a national voters roll. You have a polling station voters roll, such that umuntu utolakala kuphela in only one polling station, at least in terms of the law. If it's outside the law, then it's something else. Then secondly, Section 160 of the Constitution obliges to candidates are given a voters roll. Unfortunately, that particular section reads like we must be the voters roll within a reasonable time. It doesn't say within a week, within a month, within a day, or 2 days before voting. It says within a reasonable time. So in short, we've not yet been given the voters rolls. We hope to get the ZEC always has a voters roll ready at the time of they close, like 48 hours after proclamation. They have the voters roll ready. The challenge is that they do not know how many candidates will be there in an election so that they can proceed to print. So last week they gazetted the candidates. All of us who are candidates have been gazetted. This then means that ZEC can now begin to print copies because they know how many copies to print by virtue of the gazette. So that is the number that is they are going to print so that we as candidates can have access. Once we have the voters roll, we will then start uh, working around that. So that is where we are with respect to the issues of the voters roll. Ubhuti umuve nge-issue omunye okhulume ngendaba zezeki ezokuthi kuhamba njani. Hayi zikhona izindaba zakhona ezezeki yizo zena lezo, but hayi i-voters roll silethemba kakhulu lokuthi iviki leli lizayo soze liphele singayitholanga. Ngiyabonga.
Well, thanks so much, Bajila, for that response. Sorry for calling you Bajila there. Zepang, please do go ahead, Zepang, with the question to Bajila.
All right, thank you. Thank you to different colleagues, Bajila. My question is, what inclusive approach will you take when you get into office in regards to developmental issues of Emakhandeni-Luveve constituency? Let me repeat that once again. What inclusive approach will you take when you get into office in relation to developmental issues of Emakhandeni-Luveve constituency? Thank you.
Thanks so much, Zepang. Let's go to Badara. Badara, please do go ahead to the question to Bajila as well, that he can answer Agawan.
Yeah, many thanks. Honorable, I've read your manifesto. I like it. I like people who put out what they think they want to do and bring to the people of their constituency. So there's something there. Here's the thing. It might deny, we might be delusional in our thinking. Some of you will get into parliament.
Hello.
Yes, so still audible. So we're still waiting for Badara to ask the question.
Okay.
Maybe he's not hearing me. Some will get into parliament, right? If you do make it into parliament, right? Because we know very much from the science, the statistics that is there, Zanu PF is going to win with a big majority. So, how are you going to play this up? Because we've had people coming up with excuses up because they don't have a majority, so they cannot network and work together in terms of policy. Because I believe your vote when you're voting in parliament, you don't write CCC. Your vote is silent. Your vote is quiet. It's private. How are you going to work in harmony with people? Especially, you've just mentioned one critical reform that was supposed to have happened, the section 21, which states that they can give you with a reasonable time. I think as a Zimbabwean, it's a flawed statement. It doesn't give us anything. How long is this reasonable time? I thought those are the reforms we want. We want specific timings. How are you going to work with partnership? Because many people from Zanu PF don't even like this unreasonable time because it doesn't mean anything. How are you going to push for this to change? Because those are the critical reforms that we talk about. Are you going to fight this back in Parliament at your level?
Well, thank you so much, Padare, for that contribution. You can go ahead, Bajila, and answer the two questions.
I didn't hear the the Padare question at all.
Okay, he was asking on how we are going to work together in Parliament to move the acts, like you're talking about changing the acts and the Zenara Act and all that. So he's asking, how are you going to work with together with other political parties in pushing for those motions?
Please ask the 21 because he mentioned it. He mentioned this ambiguous statement. Is he going to fight for that in Parliament? Because it's one change we need.
Bajila, can you hear us now? Right, you seem to be striking there with issue of connectivity and also late delivery of our messages. Bajila, can you hear us this morning? Yeah, slightly there. Let's go to someone else. Munamato, good morning, sir. Welcome to this morning, Nasake.
Good morning, Brighton. Good morning, Noinslasha. Good morning, everyone on the space. Bachila, thank you so much for availing yourself. I hope Uguti Kona, you'll be able to hear me or you can hear me wherever you are. Okay, so my question is in threefold, which I've been asking literally every other candidate that comes into the space and also other spaces as well. The first thing that are of note, the problem with the Zimbabwean politics is the idea of democracy. Every party that is there contesting for the elections right now is claiming to be a democratic party. And as we see it, that as they claim to be a democratic party, CCC is democratic, DUZ is democratic, UZA is democratic, Zanu PF are claiming to be democratic now. But when you look at the whole spec of democracy, it only shows the people that CCC is talking to, the people that Zanu PF is talking to, the people that DUZ, the people that UZA and other political parties are talking to are just different people. They're not talking to the same people, because democracy has to do with the idea of all people inclusive into any conversation, government for the people, by the people, with the people. So looking at the politics dynamic, when you're coming into into the political arena as a legislator, are you going to stand on a Republican side or on a Democratic side as a candidate for CCC? That's one. The second question that I have is concerning the future. What does the future look like under CCC, with Bajila being the legislator for Luveve and Emakhandeni? What does the future look like? Articulating it in three ways. One, creativity, strategy, production, and progress. The third one has to do with capital and capacity. What does Bajila as a candidate for CCC have in their bag in terms of relationship, financial capital, and also knowledge to be able to implement those changes that you're talking about, and also in your manifesto? I hope it was clear. I hope someone noted down. So, Bajila, there you go.
Well, thank you so much, Munamato, for those questions. Pachilo can go ahead and respond, sir.
Okay, thank you. Tsepang asked about the inclusive approaches to developmental issues, and my response to that is, in all things that we do, we try our best to reach out to people with different abilities in the community, and the people with different needs in the community, so that they are all included, so that they are all involved. If you check point number 2 on the manifesto, it says establish a social services network in order to provide safety nets for orphans, the elderly, and persons with disability. We are anticipating that because we have persons with disability in our community, because we have orphans in our community, because we have elderly citizens in our community, their views all need to be part of the developmental processes. So we are going to, when we proceed with our consultative and our feedback meetings in the constituency, we are going to establish contact persons. So we're going to have a contact person for the disability community. We're going to have a contact person for the elderly community. We're going to have a contact person for child-headed families in the constituency. We have quite a number of child-headed families in the constituency owing to migration to the diaspora, and children remaining in here. We see them and we have a contact person for those people in our community, so that their views are included in the in the developmental processes. If I picked the last question that came, it's about how I'm going to work around the political powers and the political systems in Zimbabwe to attain the amendments that I need, that I've proposed. First of all, these amendments that I propose are not partisan. These amendments affect all of us. The people in Kuruwe, the people in Kuruwe will be interested in Kuruwe Rural District Council retaining motor vehicle tax so that roads in Kuruwe can be developed. The people in Cholocho would want the same. The people in Mwenezi, the people in Chendambuya, the people in Kezi, where I come from, will be interested in these things. Therefore, these kind of amendments, we have gone through lots of trainings that have capacitated us in terms of lobbying and advocacy. We are going to lobby across the political divide to realize these things. Even a Zanu PF person who resides in Bulawayo wants better roads because they drive here. Even a MDC person who resides in Mutare wants better roads in Mutare, and they will have to support the amendments that locate these laws um, that reduce these powers from Zinara and put them at the hands of the local authority. So we are going to use our skills, our knowledge, our links, and our networks to make sure that we lobby and advocate for these rules and regulations. It's important also to note that the infrastructure for development, the infrastructure for lobbying and advocacy must be created in such a way that it does not depend on Bajila, it does not depend on Chamisa, it does not depend on Mnangagwa, it does not depend on anyone, but it's an institutional kind of framework. And we have built relationships over years across the barriers of politics, across the borders of Zimbabwe, that will make it possible for us to work and have these laws realized. Because the laws that we are proposing as kind of amendments that are included in my manifesto are the kind of things that are about bread and butter. They do not affect your liberation credentials. They do not affect whoever you could be thinking that you are inclined to. They affect your daily livelihood regardless of who you are. So that is how we are going to work. And we have built what is necessary for us to attain these things. I hope I've responded to the questions.
Well, thanks so much, Bachila, for that response. I know we're way beyond our time. I know you have other engagements after the space after 9. You said to us you have other engagements after 9. So, Bachila, maybe last in closing, what is suppose someone wants to vote for? I got to the ballot paper on 23rd of August, and I see the name Collins Bachila. Why should I vote for Bachila? What does Bachila stand for as a member of parliament for Luveve Emakhandeni? In closing, Bachila.
Yes, thank you so much. The first and the most important thing is that I can confirm that the name Discent Bajila will be on the ballot papers on the 23rd of August for the 32 polling stations of Emakhandeni-Luveve Constituency. I can also confirm that the name will be number 1 on the list of candidates. So it's quite easy for those who would like to vote for Bajila. The name will be the first name on the list. So it will be quite easy. You just look for the first name and vote. Even if you might have done a lot, forgotten a lot, taken a number of drinks, just know that when you are going in there into the polling station, into the polling booth, you are voting for the name number 1. What I stand for is that I stand for a better life for everyone. As you have heard when I presented brief stuff about my manifesto, I want better roads for all. I want better roads for everyone. And better roads resides in creating a revenue base for the local authority by amending the Zinara Act. I stand for clean and safe water by tap water. I stand for clean and safe tap water for everyone in Bulawayo. And that is why I want the Zinwa Act to go. And that is why I want us to go and improve our reservoirs, starting with the Makwekwe Reservoir, which is where the people of Emakhandeni-Luveve vote. It is because we want clean and safe tap water for everyone. We want better health for everyone. We do not want better health for certain people. We want better health for everyone. That is why we are calling for the improvement of Emakhandeni-Luveve clinics through assistance from the diaspora and even from local resources. And we will do this once we are elected into parliament. We want better education for everyone, not better education for some people, not better education for children of so and so. We want better education for everyone. That is why we are saying we want to work with the diaspora to improve the activities in our schools. Everything that we want, our campaign, your vote for Decent Bajila represent a big win for everyone and not just for a few, for everyone. I thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Discent Bajila, for joining us this morning and answering to our questions on this morning on Asake. I see we still have guests that were lined up and requests, but sorry, guys, we started off the space at 8 because Discent Bajila has other commitments and he now has to leave for other commitments. I know network issues and all that, but well, these are the times that we live in.
Yeah, before we take other speakers there this morning, for me, my key takeaway from his manifesto, the 10-point plan, was the issue of number one, the monthly constituency feedback meetings, and in quarterly constituency consultative meetings as number one. Also, touch on the diaspora and act to say, let's go and reach out to people in diaspora to come back to Luveve and rebuild their health sectors, their health, the education as well. For me, it was quite touching, those 2 points. Let's go to other speakers there where they want to contribute or ask questions before our guest leaves. I know our guest leaving there, but let's take more speakers there.
Okay, let's start with informatics. Good morning, informatics. What's your contribution?
Good morning. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Yeah, thank you, Decent, for a wonderful presentation. We support you and congratulations for being nominated. So, yeah, I've realized a trend on many MPs who present their manifestos and other things. One question I would like to ask is that, are you guys using an integrated approach to these manifestos, whereby your manifesto at your constitution level is a mirror of a manifesto for at national level? That's the first thing that I am always ask myself about. And the other thing that I would like to address is that many MPs, they always present about their manifestos, and they seem like they want to take everything into their own hands, like they know everything. And everything should be addressed by themselves. But see, I'm a little bit worried that as researchers in those communities might have been sidelined. I think an approach whereby you include researchers in everything that you would like to address is very important. You have researchers as a student, master students, you have maybe PhD students in your constitution. They know better maybe about how to solve those problems in when it comes to water management, road rehabilitation programs and other things. So I have a view that if MPs and the other contestants factor in the issue of including researchers in their planning, I think it will be a very important step as a country. Because in other countries, we know that they solve problems through research. But in our country, MPs seem like to take everything into their own hands, and that I will solve this and this, I'll solve this and this. But without considering that researchers are very important in our country's development. And the other issue about climate change, we know that many of the problems, of course, you want to solve water problem in Blawayo, you want to solve some of the problems, maybe food security problems in Blawayo, but the issue of climate change will also affect you. And I have never had any MP who came here talking about how are they going, what their view about climate change, and see with the belief that climate change should be addressed at different levels. I think our MPs also are also disappointing us in that area of climate change. It seems they are ignoring it. Yet we need to solve climate change from each level or in our society to national level, and regional level, and global level. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Quite interesting conversation there. Let's speaking about inform. Let's go to Councillor Mpumelelo Moyo to wrap up the space for us. Our guest has left. We just enjoyed the conversation by from 8 o'clock to 9 a.m. Please go ahead, Councillor.
Okay, thank you very much and good morning to everyone. Okay, to me, it's just a comment. I'm happy that Bajila is participating in these elections. I know him since high school. He was my junior at high school. He became a head boy there. His track record is very good and pleasing, and he's someone who has been in this struggle for a long time, and he hasn't been selfish that he's after positions. But I think at this point in time, it was good for him to partake in these elections because if you look at his approach, it's a scientific based approach. He tells you the number of wards, the number of polling station in his constituents. He's basically thorough and is not leaving anything to chance. So we need people of his caliber to come and contest and assist Zimbabwe to move forward. Because the challenge that we have been having in the past is that we, at times, even as opposition, we have been seconding or forwarding people without capacity, people who don't understand what needs to be done, whether in council or in parliament.